don't touch. Try again. Are we okay? Back. I reset it. I did everything ready to... Just don't touch, don't touch, don't touch. Okay. Good morning, gang. Yeah, we're starting with the Japan Post news, are we? I hadn't really wanted to talk about that, but okay. Yeah, whatever, here it is. Japan Post has given up. And they've had all this stuff there for months. They've now canceled. They're not shipping anything more to America by air. They're checking with the sender, and we have two choices. We can leave it there, three choices. We can leave it there and wait until maybe it can go, or we can switch to sea mail, or we can call it back. And they've had stuff there for over a month. Their website shows that if we leave it there, the estimated time before each package can get out will be at a minimum 4 months. So that part of our business is toast. As discussed in the last stream here, we are now arranging, Jed is really helping us on this, Jed and his assistant, the girl who does his shipping for it. So what we're doing is we're trying to figure out a bulk system, of course. We're getting our subscription prints after people pay for them, put them in a box here. They go over to each country, one drop box in Germany and one drop box in America. And then from there they go by domestic mail. But it is costing us. DHL won't even talk to us, they're not accepting new accounts. And FedEx says, sure, no problem. Just give me your wallet and we'll take care of it. Surge pricing. So our fundamental business model, sending small-scale analog objects around the world, is toast as long as this is going on. So we'll see. We have three legs to our business, the Asakusa shop, which no longer exists, subscription models, which is now severely under attack. And the last leg is the online shop, which, of course, the small-scale part of that's disappeared. I guess it's going to be simply from now on, we're going to have to focus on larger, more expensive items where people can afford to pay a $60 FedEx fee on top of it. I don't know. No idea. Anyway, enough of that for now. Why don't you temporarily monetize this channel so we have an easy way to donate to us? I mean, thank you for the idea, the support again. The problem facing me right now is not actual cash right now. We've got enough cash and sort of things are flowing still to go for the next few months. That's okay. We're not starving here. It's not like there's people over in America, whatever, who are really, really out of work and in trouble. We have enough cash right now. What we don't have is a business model. So I'm hesitant, excuse me about the earthquake here. I'm hesitant to ask people to support us in that way until I have a view of how this is actually going to be able to sustain. It's no point in asking for, for help when we don't have a business model. So thank you for the idea, and it's very, very warm-hearted, and thank you very much. Wolves, I'm not sure you're eating. Okay, so. But in the meantime, we can do a bit of carving. We can make some prints here. They will eventually get out to the people who are waiting for them. These are prints for supporters. These are the prints to go to the Patreon campaign, of course. I had a deadline. This has got to be mailed in May. That's actually no longer possible because things can't be mailed in May. But anyway, as long as I've made them and we can tell the people they're made. Okay, the plan for today. The plan for today is going to be carving on this, quietly, peacefully. The paper is out of the freezer. You guys haven't been doing your job asking me this recently, because of course there's nobody upstairs. But today on the fridge door there is a yellow dot for today. It's not Ayumi-san, Suga-san, Dei-chan, Ishikawa-san, Kawai-san. It's none of those people. It says Buru. My paper is out of the freezer. I'm printing, of course, the You did it last week, okay, whatever, whatever. Please, all in good fun, excuse me, so. Anyway, the paper is out, 60 sheets of the Octo. There's 3 colors left on it. I finished 7 colors and there's 3 colors left on this. These are of course all sold. And that's another announcement to make. During the night, last night, the orders for the Octopus reached the limit of what I'm going to be able to print in this next couple of weeks. I'm doing 2 batches, 60 and 60, thinking I'll get 50, 55 out of each one, whatever. And those are now sold out. So this morning when I woke up, I changed the website to read, it's not printed by David, the next group. If anybody orders now, they will be getting copies printed by Yamamoto-san, our staff printer, the guy who's doing great waves. It's fine, people have been ordering them even though we can't ship the damn things, whatever. Yeah, that's my job today. I will be mostly printing upstairs today, so I'm going to now spend a peaceful hour here just doing a bit of work on this before I go to my real work upstairs. So there is a show and tell of sorts. Something arrived, in fact, just at the end of the last stream, was it? Or the 2 streams ago? The postman burst his way through the door and brought a package. And I said, shall we look at it now? No, we'll open it here. It's not a show and tell in the sense of, oh my God, look at that beautiful little print. It's more of a bit of a strange show and tell. But it is, there's 2 things to show you. Do I have any lockdown in Japan? Yes, Japan is finally shut down at last. It's way overdue. It's a month late. The medical system in Japan now it's starting to look like New York a few weeks ago. The government here procrastinated and dithered and didn't show leadership, and now Tokyo is in trouble. I personally, whatever, I'm sitting here, I'm okay, but it is not a good situation. The numbers in Japan are dramatically changing day by day, up. All I can do is just try and sit here by myself and stay out of sight. Is that focused? Is it okay? I'm going to look here. Let's see. Just whatever. Every time you think it can't get worse, Trump just makes it worse. Okay, it's one hand done, I think. Cut anyway. Just keep moving around this picture bit by bit by bit. These are pleasant. We talked about this the other day. Really, really pleasant lines to carve. Just fat and juicy, nice and thick. No stress at all. Well, the perfect thickness. If someone were starting this for the first time, if they're a beginner or something, an image of this sort with lines about this thickness would be, I think, just right for some of this stuff. Anything finer than this, it just gets too difficult. But this is fine. I think John's left a gap here, right? Let's have a look. He's left the gaps where this line passes through to give it a bit more light. So we cut this here. Same on the finger. I guess I cut this, right? Do I? Or is it an artifact of what he did with Photoshop? No, I think I cut it. It's okay. And then we cut through the finger. Ouch. Chop. And we cut through the edge of the barrel. Chop. Just move on to the next hand over here. I don't know if it's relevant to whatever discussions is going on here, but the last few days, the last week or so, I've been doing something that I haven't done in years steadily. As I've been blogging on the Mocha Hong Kong blog. We have the thing called the Mocha Hong Kong Conversations. And before the social media era, the blog was the main method of communicating to people. I used to post progress and stuff on there, and people would make comments and things like that. Me and my 2 or 3 friends, whatever. And the blog was the main way of putting stuff down. Then social media came along, Facebook and everything else, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And when you post something on Facebook, whatever, people see it right away, tons of reaction, stuff happens, you sell prints or whatever, but then it's gone. Nobody ever sees it ever again. You don't see a Facebook posting from 2 years ago. So here's something I was doing with my workbench, posted on Facebook, has no meaning for later on. Same with Instagram. There's no historical. It's there, but you don't see it. So whatever, now that I've had a bit more time to do this, whatever. So I've started using the blog again. I don't know how consistent it'll be, but anyway, this week, there's a bunch of postings on the Mocha Hong Kong Conversations blog about what we're doing. I know I'm talking about printing the octopus print, but I'm not talking about the image itself. So it's actually a safe for work blogging system. You can see it if your kids are around, it doesn't matter. It's just talking about printmaking. So I think there's 3 or 4 posts now in there about the workbench and the setup and stuff like that. Tom 1060, in a stream some time ago, I showed a brush that had its hairs too long or short. What happened to it? I don't know. I don't remember the conversation or the episode. I don't know. I'm not sure, I'm sorry, I don't know, I don't remember what we were talking about. I'm struggling actually upstairs. This is another backstory happening here, Now that I've become a printer this past week, it was funny, 10 days or so, once the block set for the Octo was ready, it was clear, Dave, get going, print a batch of these. You've been talking for years, you haven't done any printing, time to get going. So okay, I'll get to it tomorrow. And then tomorrow came and, oh, it's kind of busy, good things going on, I'll get to it tomorrow. And it became pretty clear about 10 days ago so that I was procrastinating about this, I haven't done steady printing. The only printing I've done in the past 6 years is a batch of owls a couple of years ago, little small scale prints, easy, no problem. And then I work in the print party room when we still did print parties. But I've never done an actual batch of real prints, and it's been 2014, spring of 2014 was the last time I did such a thing. And it's tough to get back into harness. So, but finally, because of course we had to get this thing going, we put the promotion up and sold the things, they've got to be made. So the first couple of days of this, today's Saturday, when did I go? Maybe paperweight Monday or something. And the first day was difficult. Not just difficult to move my arm, but difficult to focus. Check the mail, no, leave the email alone. Put some music on, leave the music alone. Stuff that for me was natural for 25 years, just sitting there in my room, printing. After my kids left in 1996, I just became a print-making machine, all day long, carving, enjoying it, printing, enjoying it, doing it. But these past few years now, having a wonderfully enjoyable, fabulous, active life here in the Asakusa shop and running business and social media. But you can't just switch that off and, okay, I am now going to sit down and print. It's just like, anyway, I have struggled with the attention the past few days. Yesterday got a bit better. It kind of clicked a bit yesterday. I had planned to do 2 colors on the thing. Did one in the morning, had a nap after lunch, did one in the afternoon, and then okay, that was it. That's what I should do today. Let's put it away for tomorrow. But a little bit of the old David came back and said, look, it's 7 o'clock. It's you got hours before bed. Let's just do another color. And I did. So bit by bit, it's starting to come back. And hopefully I'm enjoying myself up there now. Hopefully I'm enjoying myself. So I don't know now the future, the future. The tours aren't coming back soon. Print parties are finished, they're done, they're history. The postal system is in chaos. The business model we've tried to build is just collapsing around us. More and more I'm thinking, that's it, just pack it up. I don't mean give up. What I mean is simply this business model here of having a shop downtown and publishing all kinds of stuff and trying to build this little empire here. The new world, it's going to be difficult to do that, so it might just be time to just close all that stuff down. And my workroom in Ome is waiting. The workbench is there, the river is there, I own the building, there's no debt. I think I could enjoy that, I know I could enjoy it. Keep YouTube, of course, keep Twitch, of course, do this. That's no problem. Just keep doing this from there, no problem. Just on a smaller personal basis, So you just remember you're carving this. So this is the John Amos design here for this Patreon Chibi. And there's a hand and another hand and a baron and John has got these fingernails. We had over the hand over here, we had a certain little line for a fingernail, and another one here. And this is another one, I'm carving another fingernail here. And I'm realizing as I do this, I'm starting to get an idea here of what a John Amos fingernail looks like. And that's not a joke. I know John has a certain way of drawing things. So if I carve a John Amos picture, you start to get an idea for how each particular designer does things. You know, Jed draws his characters with a brush. John did this on a computer screen, I'm sure. So it's a mix of his personal way to move, the stylus, and you know. But anyway, it's a John Amos fingernail. I'm realizing I could actually do this if there was something wrong with the drawing here and the paper came off and I couldn't see this. I think I could do that. I could put a fingernail in there that looks like a John Amos fingernail. And that's a thing, you know. When I was doing my work in the old days, back in the previous life, doing reproductions, I do a hokusai, then we'll do a hiroshige, and a tomato and stuff like that. And I knew this back then, I learned this back then, that you don't just carve what you're seeing in front of you there. You have to understand what you're carving. And when you're carving a hokusai finger, it's different from a tomato finger. And of course, it sounds like something obvious, but you have to understand how they're different, and you have to carve them differently. Not just blindly. You know? I was reminded of this again by something I saw yesterday. That was part of the show and tell. Okay, save that part of the conversation for the show and tell later on. When we're doing the show and tell, remind me about the fingernails. Not my fingernails, the fingernails in the pictures. This comes to 0 here. There's another Amos fingernail. Should we scrape it off and just see if I can cut one without any lines? Conversation, trying to keep both ends of it here. Okay, go back, I missed a lot of this, I'm sorry. Maybe I would find it easier to focus as black and white. Yes, of course. It would just be a different thing. I would be back to a craftsman, making, carving, and printing. I'm only 68, I should have years of it left in me, you know, so. Would I continue to stream? Of course, we'd take the Twitch system set up, we would stream back from home. I streamed from home in the 1990s, we would do it again. Was that block I did of a craftsman hitting something with a mallet, a John Amos design? Yes, John has done. This is the 4th one he's done for us, the Patreon Chibis. This is the 4th pair. We started Patreon in 2017, and John did the first pair for me. So this is the 17, 18, 19, 20. This is the 4th pair of Patreon Chibis that he's done for us. And we don't sell these anywhere. They're not on the catalog. There's nowhere you can search for them. Each year we make the pair. They go to the Patreon supporters, and the blocks just go somewhere. They're stored in the warehouse somewhere. And maybe at some point in the future we issue them and sell them to people separately. I don't have any idea. Talk to John about that. No idea. But yeah, this is the craftsman hitting a mallet. Yes. So. Did I visit Hokusai's grave? No, I've been kind of Is- kind of. Actually, yeah, John, what's this deal? Maijima Hisoka. What's the deal? I saw a link. Somebody sent me this. It popped up somewhere. I don't even know this name. Maijima Hisoka. What's the relevance here to our work? Okay. Zing. You got too many chocolate eggs over there. Spread them out with your friends, Karen and other people. Founder of the Japanese postal system, yeah. Where is he when we need him? The current gotcha people over there are just got their head in their sand, head in their butts or something. The Japanese post office. It's the whole thing. It's the central government. It's these organizations like the post office. Japan has this wonderful, wonderful thing that is a terrible, terrible thing at the same time. It's consensus management. And consensus management works great when there's consensus. But when something is here that needs affirmative action, decision-making action. Okay, let's look at this. We now have knowledge A, knowledge B, knowledge C. Can't see that yet, but okay, we have to do something based on the knowledge we got so far. Okay, let's do this. That's what's missing in Japan, of course. And that's why the central government had so much trouble shutting this place down, and what if we do this, or what if we do this? And the old guys in the back row, we can't do that yet, whatever. It's consensus. There's a really interesting example came up yesterday. We're following these post offices all over the world. Japan has got all this huge tons of mail, which normally would have gone in the bottom of normal airliners. You know, tourists sit up top, and freight and stuff goes along with their suitcases in the bottom. It turns out that most of the air freight going back and forth, I forget the number, 60-70% of the air freight between these two countries has been in the bottom of commercial airliners. I would have guessed that most of the air freight went on freight airliners, but no, it turns out that more than half of it has been going back and forth on commercial airliners. No problem. They know what they're doing. They've got the business model worked out. The commercial airliners are suddenly stopped. So they've got all this freight building up. To me, you look at your money, how much do the people pay for this? You talk to the US Post Office, there's lots of empty airplanes all over the world right now, pilots sitting, jet fuel's never been cheaper. Okay, let's see what we can do here. But they do this at Christmas time. They get extra cargo planes ready and throw stuff over at Christmas time. Maybe they take a loss on it. I don't know. I don't know the background here, so I'm criticizing these people without knowing the economics. So this stuff has been building up and building up and building up and building up and building up. An outsider like me says, hire freight aircraft, fill them with this stuff, throw it over there and keep the thing moving. They haven't done now. It turns out the same situation is happening in America, not so much with mail to Japan, but with post to Europe. A bunch of European countries and the freight and the planes going back and forth have been done. So I've been watching the American postal system and their updates to see what they're doing on stuff to Japan. A couple of days ago, they've announced a new initiative. I forget the exact name for it. They call it the Air to Sea Shipment Initiative or something like this. It's on the USPS website if you search through it. Air to Sea. And what they've done is they've got all this huge mountain of stuff in New York and Miami and all those East Coast ports, whatever. And they've arranged special freight, sea freight. And normally when you send something by sea freight, you can say goodbye to it for 4, 5, 6 months. It just goes into a bag in the back of a boat on an export, whatever. But they've arranged specific ships. They've rented ships that will go from New York to Rotterdam, taking all this stuff. So instead of 6 hours in the air, it's going to take a week by sea, but they know what they're doing. They've organized it, got it ready, not 4 months, 1 week. New York to Rotterdam, the people over there in Europe are ready and waiting for it, bang, out it goes in the trucks to Germany, France, and whatever, all around. Japan, cancel, send it back to sender, or you can let it sit there for 4 months till there's room on the plane. Nobody has the initiative here to say, okay, look guys, let's do this, let's try this. It just goes to the meetings, and there's no consensus. End of rant. I'm sorry. I like this country. I love it. It's a wonderful, wonderful place to live. There's no perfect country, I'm not saying America's a perfect country. Boy, those guys have some problems, of course. But, cherry picking here, I look at some aspects of that country that are wonderful, the decisive action. Some of the stuff that's happened in New York and over the past few weeks, incredibly decisive people getting stuff done. Wonderful. Here, it just goes on and on and on and on. So in some dream perfect society, we have the best characteristics of each one of these countries. It's of course not possible. Sound outside is the vacuum cleaner in the hotel lobby with the lady somewhere between 8:30 and 9 most mornings. Vacuums the lobby and the stairs outside. That hotel is still open, they're still hanging on. It's almost empty. Last night when I was printing upstairs on the 3rd floor, I did that 3rd color last night, as I mentioned a few minutes ago. After dinner I did another color, so I'm printing upstairs now, and my room is light, and outside it's totally dark. That hotel, I think there was one light on in one room somewhere upstairs. The rest of it was absolutely dark. I was thinking about it as I was sitting there printing it up. I was thinking, I wonder if somebody in the hotel is watching me. Can you imagine if a Mokuhankan fan was visiting Japan? They stayed in that hotel across the street. Tonight, after dinner, look out their window, and there's Dave across there, printing. Beautiful lines to Carter. John, thank you. Even if you are from Georgia. The brush binding, binding the brushes with twine and varnishing. This is a stopgap issue because the current brushes are just so crap. Some of the brushes I've got that I got from Sekine-san, he of course took really good care about his hair, blending summer hair, winter hair, blah blah blah. But of course he also took really good care when getting his block ready, the block, the piece of wood. Perfectly straight grain, selected, seasoned, whatever. Now the brush makers it's wood, bang, cut, bang, piece of wood, bang, make it. And of course they split like crazy. It's not seasoned wood, whatever. The one I've got here right now, this is Kintaro. He's long dead. He died before I came to Japan. So this brush is It's not as old as I am, but it's, I don't know, it would have been made, when did he die? 1980 or something like that. So this is a brush that's at least 40 years old. No crack, no nothing, no nothing. No varnish, no watering, no string, nothing required, because he selected a nice, beautiful, careful piece of wood. The modern wood, I said, Karen is just struggling, the wood is splitting, what are you going to do with it? Anything. I have no specific advice, anything. The wood splits because the bottom gets moist and wet from the action of brushing, the top stays dry. So there's two theories here, and what I try and do with our workshop is we use the brushes, and then when we wash them, my instructions to the staff, and they don't actually pay attention to me, my instructions to the staff is when you wash it, you get into the tap, you don't let the water touch the wood. You let the water hit the brushes and you rinse under running water such that the water flows away from it. Now, of course, water has wicked up into there. So we put our brushes in the only workshop in the Gamecom where the air flows into the building. The brushes go in here into a holder like this where it's open to the air, and hopefully as much as possible it dries out. We would never put a brush like this. Ever, 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 ever. The water runs in and it will rot the hairs at the bottom. So that's plan A, theory A. Try and keep the wood dry. The other stuff, Kubota-san does this, Numabe-san does this. When they're using a brush done one color, it's going to start a second color. He throws the brush in a bucket in the sink, under water. I'll wash this later. The brush sits there underwater in the sink in a bucket of water. End of the day, time to clean up. He gets the bucket, and now with salt and water and running hot water, it takes a half an hour or so. They thoroughly, totally try and scrub away all trace of any pigment in every brush. And the brush is now totally, thoroughly wet. They then put them on the windowsill or something like this, all in a row, chuk, 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 and try and dry them up. Works for them, using mostly older brushes with basic good wood. I can't really tell you what to do. Trying to varnish the top of it is meaningless because the water is coming in from the bottom. The reason they're splitting is water comes in from the bottom, they expand, and they split like this. You can try and hold it back by putting a wire and tight and tight and tight and tight and tight. Maybe successful, I don't know. We don't wrap ours. We don't wrap ours. Here it's bare wood, and the newer ones, when they finally just split grotesquely, just toss it. Yeah, fingernails too long, whatever. It's the same word, shikataganai, shoganai. It's just a shorter form of the same thing. Shikataganai. It can't be helped. Sometimes it's a really useful word, and sometimes it's the god-awful word. Yeah, shikataganai. Yeah, very nice, Karen. Japanese lessons. Thank you. Varnish would trap the moisture. I guess, maybe, I don't know, no idea. Varnish would presumably stop moisture from going in from the top, but unless you varnished it from the bottom, what would you do when you're making the brush? Now, before the hair goes in, they drill these holes in the bottom, then they put the hair in and put the cap on. You could maybe try and stabilize the wood. Suppose before you put the hair in, you've got your block ready with the holes drilled in it, put some kind of like when they're planting posts in the ground or something, some creosote or something to try and put a situation where the wood wouldn't rot or water wouldn't go into it. That might be plan B, whatever. Make the block out of plastic, some kind of plastic resin so that it's waterproof. I don't know, there's lots of ways to handle this. If I were starting right now to try and make brushes, it would just be a question of trying to find very well seasoned old wood that was going to be as stable as possible. Like I said, 40 years. Could someone go out and cut that tree down, casting a shadow on the light pole? Yeah, right. The light pole shadow is what it is. Just, it's not going to be a good day for levitation, I'm sorry. The tree shadow with the light pole shadow. So there you go. Shogun. What's the importance of length of the hair? Things are what they are. I know these brushes that we use here, so it's really interesting. These brushes, they're called maru bake. Maru is sort of rounder shape. These are not what was used in the old days in Edo. All through Edo up until mid-Meiji, these didn't exist. This is like a Western shoe brush. These were not used for woodblock printmaking. They didn't exist. They were only what we call hangabake, tatebake. These are marubake. These didn't exist in the old days. All the ukiyo-e prints you see from up to the Meiji time didn't use these brushes. They used the vertical type brushes where it's a single clump, bang, a single clump of hair. Not hair in groups of smaller clumps, but a single massive clump of hair. It's called hangabake. And that's what was used in the old days. Small ones we use all the time. I'll be using them when I make this print next week. We have smaller scale hangabake. They work really well. But I have never been able, and I tried in the early days, I've never been able to use a larger scale hangabake, where you've got about this much hair in a clump, tight clump with a vertical handle, and it spreads it around. It's difficult to spread pigment around with a tight clump brush like that. And when somebody first tried this back in the late Meiji, they must have said, oh my God, look at that, it's so cool, the pigment spreads out so easily. And everybody switched to using these. But this is not the only game in town. And if you were going to be one of those people who tried to authentically recreate exactly how it was done in the old days, then you wouldn't be using these brushes. You'd be using brushes with hair tight in clumps. What time is it? Nearly 9 o'clock. See where this line is, be careful there. You guys are way ahead of me here today. What time is it where I am? It's 8:55. Printing. I can't print the octopus print on Twitch. I'm sorry. They've asked me specifically, don't show that image on this channel. Whatever. This is a dicey thing for us, in fact. We're taking quite a risk by making this octopus print, in that we depend for a huge percent of our revenue and our people learning about us on YouTube and Google. If Google's algorithm somehow decided that, oh, this is a porn channel, and starts to put our ranking and such, we're in trouble. So we're trying to minimize the damage, the potential damage. We'll be printing the blocks I'm working on now. I will be doing a test print of this when they're finished. The current schedule is I'm doing the first batch of octo printing right now. I'm doing the first 60 copies. That'll be finished tomorrow night. Then give me one day break for something else, working out FedEx prices and stuff. Then I'll do the second batch of octo printing. It'll take another week. What's this? This is Saturday. So by next weekend I might be finishing up or not. Who knows? Whatever. During that time, I will try and be doing some carving on this. So once this key block's finished, we do color block carving. That'll be a few days. And then I will do a quick run-up of test printing on this, because there's no color design done for this. John didn't give that to me. John just gave a rough, here's some shadows, maybe it works like this. So I will be working out a color separation, doing color carving, color block carving, and then doing one batch of test printing. And then when that's over, they will go to Yamamoto-kun. He's the boy who's doing our Great Wave printing. He'll be finished a batch of Great Waves by about the 15th of next month. That's the schedule. And then I will then give him the octopus blocks. And he will then do another batch of 100 of the octopus, because we're now sold out of the octopus, the first batch. And then he will then get going on this thing. And we need a bunch of these. We'll need altogether about 600 copies of these, but we won't do them all at once. We'll start with 200, get them out to the earlier Patreon people, post office willing. And then we'll work from there. So we will need all in all about 600 of these. I finally finished the octo print. Well, the carving is finished, printing is up underway. If you need a bit more information about the printing, check the Mocha Hong Kong Conversations blog. Yeah, you can see our place on Street View, of course. So one thing I didn't know about the Street Views is when you're looking at something in Street View, at least depending on the browser you've got, if you're working in Chrome or something, Street View allows you to see this, the Street View going back in time. And I don't know, I haven't checked in quite a while, so the current Street View of our place is probably 2020 or maybe 2019, I don't know. But when you are looking at the shop from the Street View, find the arrows that allow you to go back in time, 2017, 2016, 2014. And one of the pictures, and I think it's 2015, I don't remember exactly, when the Street View car came by, I was outside sweeping up. So I'm on there, I'm captured for posterity on Google Street View camera, sweeping in front of this shop in 2015 or so. So I'm a naturalized Japanese. No, I'm a Canadian and a Brit. I'm here as a permanent resident. I will not be taking citizenship. It's of no interest to me. I love the place, it's cool, it's got pluses, it's got minuses, it's my home, but I don't feel a citizen, and they don't feel me as a citizen either, so let's just leave that. So, what does mokuhan mean? Mokuhan is woodblock. Mokuhan ga, wood plate picture, is the woodblock prints that we saw. It's mokuhan ga. Kan is a suffix that implies a building or a place or a study hall or really just a building where stuff happens. Tosho kan, reading kan, place, it's a library. Bijutsu kan, beauty place, a museum. This is mokuhan. Kan, woodblock place, the place for woodblock prints, mokuhan kan. Not the best name in the world for a company that was supposed to be international because it's too long, nobody can remember. How do you spell Mississippi anyway? Whatever. The Edgewater Casino, so long gone. I'm not a devotee, I don't go to casinos, but my parents used to have a fling there. They used to walk down the seawall and go in there for half an hour. And my dad scored a couple of these, so I got this from my dad's closet after my dad passed away. So. You've been caught on Street View 3 times. What? What? Funny thing about Street View, there's no point sending you a link here, but one day when I was visiting Canada, I was chatting with my mother about stuff, and she didn't know about Street View, so I showed her, here's the house we used to live in, like when I was 10 years old or something, and wow, let's look at this, So we Googled in Street View, we went to visit all the old places where I used to live. And one of them, the car must have gone down the street where our house was, and there it is, it's the old pink house, and now it's overgrown with bushes, and people aren't taking care of the garden or whatever. And we just drive down the street in the Street View car, and there's a body in the street. Like a dead body in the street. And I'm like, should I report this or whatever? What's going on? I don't know, I guess it's a thing. Sometimes in an area, whatever, somebody will see the Google car coming down the road towards them, so they goof around. This guy must have just lied down and pretended to be dead and got himself immortalized on Street View. They blur out faces where they can, so you don't see yourself there, but this joker figured out a way to get around this. So John said people do that, I guess, whatever. It must be a thing, I guess, I don't know. Clowns. So maybe there's probably a website somewhere, collected clowns from Google Street View, I don't know, whatever. Why is the advertisement written from right to left in Street View? I'm not sure what you're seeing there, the advertisement. Do you mean our banner, our poster? I don't know what you're saying. As far as I'm aware, Street Views are normal photographs. I'm not sure what you're seeing there. So. Again, I haven't checked recently. The current Street View of our place is what? Is it the shutter, or is the shutter open, or whatever? Oh, the flag is flipped. So our flag is transparent. It's a normal, what they call nobori hata, vertical shaped flag, and it's transparent. You see it from both sides. So yes, it just flaps around in the wind. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you're reversed. So current Street View is closed shop with the temple lantern as the shutter, because that went up. When did that go up? A year or so ago, I guess. I don't know. What's the time here? We're okay. 9:09. We're still good to go for a bit. I've been talking too much today. Sorry. Whatever. Gotta relax a bit too, because the work waiting for me upstairs is focused work. Once we're off here, I'll shut this down, get a cup of coffee, relax for half an hour. I might even take a walk actually for a minute. It's a beautiful sunny day. Take a walk for a few minutes and come back and get to printing. Okay, where are we? Let's have a look. Just another few more minutes done on it. Good. Coming along. It's really, really pleasant work. As I said before, John's lines are just so nice. Nice and easy to carve. Okay, we have a couple of show and tell things. Wait. Comments. Is Kawai-san on Street View with me sweeping? I don't believe so. No idea. Just that was me sweeping. There's another view with Kawai-san up there. The Street View sweeping is me. Whatever happened to the Neko contest? The cat project is up and running still. In fact, stand by. Sugu-san at home right now, as we speak, right now, is proofing the first one. The second blocks are ready. The cat thing is coming alive. There will be more announcements about it real soon now. The announcement we made last week about the octopus, month before that we did the announcement about the campaign. Next month's announcement will be about cats. Cats, they will finally be ready. We can't ship them, but we've got some. So hang on the cats. It's still running. Yes, go to the cat's website. Look at the update page. You'll see what's happening there. Shoe lady, that wasn't the shoe lady. That was just somebody else with similar shoes. They all wear similar shoes, ladies like that. I haven't seen the shoe lady now in quite a while. She changed her schedule. She used to come at 8:12, 8:13 every day, most of the days across the street. Then she switched her schedule. She came at 7:55 or so, just before the stream opened, and I would hear her go by. I've seen her not many times. I know what she looks like. I've watched as she's walked by. On one day, this is a year or so ago, when I was going to the station myself one Tuesday, it turned out she was walking behind me, and I know where she goes. Not going to go there. But I haven't seen her now recently, so maybe she's doing the right thing and staying home. Don't know. Show and tell. Okay. As I said, this is not an old antique careful print. This is just something that happened here that is worth showing and talking about. Telling you the background of Jed-san. Is Jed-san here today? I don't know. I haven't seen his name up there. Jed-san is working with other printers and other workshops. He's trying to get things going. He's working with Steve Woniecki from America. He's working with Cal Carlisle now, I believe. And of course, he's been working with William Francis in London for quite some time. Jed is giving those guys work. They have had a problem finding paper. I can't help them. Iwano-san just sells paper 500 sheets at a time. If they want to try and get in there, that's fine. That hasn't been possible. Anyway, long story short, they were stuck. William came here in January, tried a little bit of our paper, put some on his desk, and it was, of course, a sea change for him. So he and Jed, after William went back, what can we do? They need real paper. We have enough real paper for our own usage, but we can't start selling Iwano-san's paper. Long story short, they twisted my arm. Iwano-san said he could get some more. We sent 100 sheets of paper over to Jed. I wrapped it carefully, got it all set up the same way that I used to wrap. We used to sell Iwano-san's paper through the Barron Mall back in the late 1990s, 1996, 1997, 1998. You could order from the Barron Mall through me packs of 10 sheets or 100 sheets of Iwano-san's paper. Anyway. So we sent 100 sheets of paper over to Jed. This would have been about 2 months ago. I only had like 300 sheets of that size left. I sent 100 to Jed. It didn't make it. It made it, but it got crushed. And this is not really a virus problem. This was in early January or something. I don't know what was going on. It got literally, absolutely, crushed. We've had an insurance claim going back and forth. It seems now like we're not going to be able to get the insurance. They want documentation. Japanese post office says it's the Americans that did it. The Americans say nothing to do with us. Whatever, it's going back and forth. So I told Jed, send it back to me and we will try and recover what we can. If there ain't going to be any insurance, we'll try and recover what we can. So he followed my instructions, sent it back to me. And we now have here the return shipment of a totally creamed batch of beautiful Iwano-san washi. And the reason I asked him to send it back to me is we can probably recover some of it for a couple of reasons. One, this is unsized paper. Once it's sized, you're dead. If you even crease it with your fingers, that crease is permanent. But if it's unsized, oh my God, there's no packing at all, it's just paper. If it's unsized, it might be a chance to recover some of it. So the idea is to moisten some of it on flat sheets. You know, when they make paper, they've got it in their bath, they flatten it on sheets and it gets kind of flat as it dries. And if it's unsized, we can maybe do some of that with this. But first, I have to figure out how to get it out of this package. I'm going to have to push it out from the back. So there's two things. One, I might be able to flatten some of it. And second, the parts that I can't flatten, we can chop it into smaller pieces and sell as smaller pieces of paper, which is what most people overseas need anyway. And third is, we were talking about, once I saw the disaster, he sent me the photographs, I was thinking, I could make an edition of the Hokusai Octopus done on quote antique paper. Tone it, crumple it, crease it, flatten it. Those prints would look cool. So that's another plan. That's plan C for some. So you can make it books with a couple of pages. Unfortunately, that's not my work. So those are crumpled after making. Here's the indication of what's happened to this thing the first time through. This thing got hit. So far, so good. The original pictures were scary. Totally were scary. This is not looking so bad. Oh, here we go. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. You can see. Both ends. Crap. Both ends. Okay. It has been creamed in from both ends. So this paper is severely, sharply creased in many places. It looks like every single sheet at this end and back at the other end. Not as badly as that. Yeah, it is. It's deep, deep creasing. It's been crunched and crunched. So like we've lost one third, we've got a little bit in the middle. Soka, soka, soka. Well, anyway, like I said, we're going to try it. We'll get a few sheets out of this, throw them in a bath, flatten them up on a wall, and we'll see what we can do. They're not going to come back perfect, clean, but if they come back to a level, now what do I do with this? If they come back to a level that looks, I don't know, semi-usable, so maybe there's a sale on paper coming up. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, it got creamed. And it's my fault actually. Jed sent it back to me right now in this super strong. I didn't use one of these when I sent it. What we did was we wrapped it tight around a core, wrapped air pack, wrapped strong waterproof paper, wrapped more air pack. But I didn't protect it in one of those strong tubes. It's my screw up here. I can't blame anybody else. It's Dave's screw up. So we'll see what we get. We'll see what we can get. Yeah, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Here's the core. Here's the core, and it goes all the way through, right to the bottom. So I think what we're looking at is there's going to be a sale of smaller pieces of Iwano Sans paper going to be on sale sometime when we get time for it. This is unsized, remember. So if we chop this up into smaller pieces, you're going to have to figure out how to size it. Okay, remind me about the fingernails. Okay, yes. We've got a few minutes left. It's the second part of our show and tell. I do not want to talk too much about this because I don't want to promise something that I can't deliver. Three or 4 days ago, I cleaned up upstairs. I brought down for the show and tell, I brought down Ito-san's TV block. I showed it to you a few days ago. We talked about it. The videos that we took there back in Ito-san's place, 1992, 1996, I forget the dates that it was, whatever. Then because I had been in the same cupboard, I then brought down a few days later Ito-san's carving knife, the carving knife that I had received from Ito-san. I ordered from Amazon something, and it came yesterday. I really, really don't want to promise this because it may not happen. It may not be possible technically to do this. For those of you who know that backstory, the Ito-san story, you know about another part of that story. So I'm going to try. And the connection with the fingernails is, I remember, I mean, we have hours and hours and hours and hours of footage on those old tapes. But I remember once, he's pointing at the TV block. And he's saying, look, this is a woman, right? Look at the fingernail. Look at this. And he's mumbling, and like this. And he carves the finger. He says, now if this was a man, I think he used sharak. If this was a sharak actor, you don't carve it like this. It would be an actor's hand. It's rough and whatever. But he said, this is a woman serving tea. You got to think of this when you're carving that fingernail. And he's mumbling about this. And this was 1992 or something. I really, really, really would like to hear that story again. I really, really, really would like to hear that story again. We're talking about 1992. We're talking about a quarter of a freaking century ago. And the tapes are upstairs, in my room upstairs. Let's see. I mean, right now I am busy. I'm carving this Patreon print. I'm printing the octopuses. We're trying to figure out FedEx. The world is coming to an end. Let's see what we can do. As I said, please, no problem. I shouldn't even be talking about this. I should just do it all quietly in the background and say, I have an announcement today to make. Anyway, we'll see. That's the plan. This has arrived. Actually, as you can see, I've already opened it, so it does fit. It plugs in here and it plugs into the camera at the other end. The method is going to be this. And I have my video inputs on this thing demand USB. And I wasn't able to find a reasonable VCR to USB. So what I've done is this is going to run into a Sony digital camera we have here. So the videotapes player line out, or video out, goes into the digital camera. And from there, we save it out onto the computer through the video interface card here. So I think it should work. We'll see. I think it should work. Anyway, it's 9:30. I am now going to get a cup of coffee, sit, relax, take a walk, and get back upstairs and get working on the octopus prints. That's being documented on the Moko Hong Kong Conversations blog. I updated another one last night if you want to follow what's going on in the printing there, because it's not going to happen on the Twitch stream. Other than that, it's now Saturday morning. We will see you again Monday morning back here for some more carving on John's Patreon print. mokohongkong.com/conversations. You can find it. It's okay. Just look it up. Look it up. Thanks, guys. See you Monday morning. It's been a pleasant chat with you this morning. I even got a little bit of work done too. Surprise, surprise. Bye-bye, guys.